This podcast is brought to you by Independent Building Advice. IBA acknowledges traditional owners of the land and waters this podcast is recorded on. If you find this episode helpful, follow us for more so we can continue putting out free value for all homeowners in Australia. It really goes a long way. Enjoy the episode.
Okay, today we are going to talk about what I think is one of the scariest animals out there. People are scared of sharks, fair enough. Snakes, spiders, I get them. I'm not too much of a fan of spiders either, but the scariest thing to me that keeps me up at night, and that is termites. Termites are scary in Australia because they're everywhere. They're very common that houses get eaten, completely destroyed by termites. But what keeps me up at night is they're actually not covered under insurance. They're actually not insured at all. You can't get them insured, and that means that your home is very susceptible to it. And your house might be eaten right now and you have no idea about it. But there is a man that can solve this problem, and that is David. And we've got David on now. He's the expert in this. Welcome aboard, David.
Thanks, Behan. Glad to be here.
Thank you. Awesome, mate. So tell us a bit about your background, and then we can get into the wonderful world of termites and other pests and what we can and can't do about it.
Okay. About 10 years ago, I started the business with an engineer friend of mine. And in that business, we started giving away a lot of money to pest controllers. And I thought, well, how hard can it be? And I didn't realise how hard it was to get into and to do. And there's a big learning curve.
Yep.
And we started getting into that. And I did all my licensing and all the study to be able to do, especially termites. When you do the pest control, termites is a completely different section on your licensing. And we started off in that, and it was a very steep learning curve because, you know, as you've outlined in your introduction, a house is someone's. It's everything to someone.
Absolutely.
It's the roof over your head.
Yeah,
and so with that, we're looking at people's homes, so it's very close to them. So we've got to be careful about what we do, especially with termites. So that's the approach we've taken, to be very careful with what we do, and that's how we got into it because of this. What we were doing previously, and just merged into this.
Well, I don't think there's many kids out there when they're 8 years of age go, when I grow older, I want to be a pest inspector and solve pest problems. But I guess it's one of those things that when you fall upon it or you come across it and you delve deeply into it, you go, oh wow, this is massive and a real problem.
It is, and I've spoken with other people in the industry, and a lot of them, like you've just said, have sort of fallen into doing that. Yeah. And they've kept going, and they've just expanded their businesses and love what they're doing. Yeah. And they're passionate. There's so many people so passionate about termites, to be honest, that they have tours and they go through the Northern Territory on these tours with other guys looking for termites.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you see the moguls we go up to up north and extra like that. So DB2, that's your business. How did that name come across?
Well, my name's David Bergen.
Yep.
My wife's name is David Bergen, and there are two of us.
Hey, why not? Typical Australian thing to spell it out, right?
That's right.
Absolutely. So the scary thing about termites is that you might have this structure, you got the brick walls, you got the roof on, the whole thing. This is my home, it's safe, it's a solid structure, but then you might have termites eating your house and you have no idea it's happening. That's what keeps me nervous all the time. You must witness all the time.
That's right, we do, because termites, they come into the house, well, what we call by concealed access, so through areas that you would not see normally until they've caused enough damage that they poke their heads out, so to speak. So they come in up through over the slab edge underneath the ground because they're subterranean, and they come up through the cavity wall into the roof. Or they come up through a stump underneath the house, and if it's a stumped house, and they come up into the walls of a house if you've got timber framed walls. Yep. I've had a friend sitting in his office in Leaderville thinking he was going insane because he could hear noises. Yeah, wow. He's leaning back while he's working, can hear these little click noises all day long, and it was actually the termites in the walls.
That's crazy that noise, that something so small as that noise.
It is. When you hear it, it's amazing because there's millions of them doing it. That's why they cause so much damage.
Yeah, well, I've done 3 courses on termites, much to my displeasure, when I worked for a building company before, and they use Termi mesh, which is a barrier. But we'll come to that a bit later. But with termites, you're saying about the subterranean. Can you walk us through how termites find your house, how they get there, because it's not straightforward?
No. So Termites can be, they say, you read different articles. Some say 100 metres, some say 50 metres. They can travel underground. Wow. So they send out the workers out there looking for your timbers where, like if you say in the wild, so to speak, they just clean up the forest floor and eat all of the rotting timbers that are around the place. So what attracts them to a house mainly are what we call conducive conditions. A lot of that is moisture. So especially in older houses as well, when you've got leaking bathrooms and those sort of leaking kitchens, they'll come up into those bathroom areas where you got your moisture. They're attracted through to that, and they eat all the timbers around that area, or into your kitchen. They'll eat through all of your cupboards. I've had them in a dental surgery in a shopping centre. So, and it's surrounded by bitumen.
Gotcha. Wow. Because they don't just walk along the ground, on top of the ground, do they?
No, they're actually they don't like being out in the open, so they're light. They don't go anywhere near light, and they're underground. So they go underground where in their environment they keep it at a constant humidity and a constant temperature, which we can talk about. Thermal stuff a bit later.
Absolutely. Because the thing for me though, what I was taught, and I assume it's true, is that they like certain timbers and that more so than others, and they'll actually beeline for their favourite and then eat their way back. Is that correct?
Yeah, they will. So, for example, I've had it where they've gone through where you have bamboo floors where they're engineered. So when I mean they're engineered, so you've got them, the bamboo is compressed with other timbers underneath it. So you've got layers of timbers, and they'll go through just one section of the timber and eat through that. There are timbers which, like people say, I've got a jarrah roof, I'm all right. Well, it's termite resistant, it's not termite proof.
Okay.
They'll go straight through a jarrah roof to get to other timbers.
What's the difference with proof versus resistant?
Well, resistant means that it's not, you're not 100% guaranteed.
So we tried, but we failed.
In a previous life, I used to work in an industry where you had bullet-resistant glass.
So every glass resistant.
So I wouldn't trust it with a gun shooting.
No, that's fair enough. But I actually get that a lot where I've had with clients, we've suggested for their particular circumstances to do a timber-framed home. They go, we don't want timber frame because of termites. And I've gone, well, you've also got cupboards and benches and flooring, and they're not just going to eat your walls, they're going to eat the whole thing. So it doesn't necessarily mean you're safe.
I've had a client build a steel-framed house, but then he put wooden floors in there and skirting boards and stuff, and of course no termite protection whatsoever, and they came in and ate all of those for him. And now he's got termite zones around those properties, and he's very vigilant on his inspections.
Once bitten, literally. Twice shy. So what are common things that you see, signs that you see in homes? Because obviously, not the everyday person thinks, I've got to get a termite inspection done this week.
Okay.
And then I'd say that when they suspect they got termites, they probably do, and it's a lot worse than they think.
Once you've had them, people become vigilant because they see what damage. So a lot of the time when we've got termites that affect a house, you can't see a lot of the damage. So if they get into the roof and you've got ceiling timbers which are underneath insulation and underneath air conditioning ducting, you can't see all that. And when they pull the ceiling off of the roof, you can see all the termite workings underneath all of the timber framing. So I've had clients where we've removed the termites from the house, and then they've done the renovation, they pulled the ceilings down, and they've actually seen the extent of how far the termites have gone. And you can't see it. Plus also, when termites are eating through wood, their structure holds the structure together.
Oh, really?
Because if you think about it, if they're eating a tree in the wild, so to speak, they don't want the tree falling down on them.
Wow, I didn't know that. So they're like gluing it together.
Glues it. All of their structure actually holds it together.
Hence the mold, the mounds that you see.
It's all their mudding and everything holds them together. And as soon as you start to kill the colony, then of course it starts to break down and you see more damage in a house. So
wow, that's like the perfect crime. Like not perfect crime, but you're hiding your problem until you've long left.
So often they'll go through skirting skirting boards,
Yeah.
and then it's not until you kick the skirting board that you know, because all that's left is the paint.
Yeah, and it crumbles. Yeah, absolutely.
And it
Yeah,
just
wow.
crumbles, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously that's a massive thing. 'Cause I've seen images, and by the way, we're going to put some photos in the show notes too, by the way, because you've got some great photos and scary photos. But you see them. You show me photos, but you see this like line of cord. I thought it was a wire hanging down from a light. It's actually the termites. How do they do that? How does that work?
I get mixed up stalactites and stalagmites.
Yeah.
But when they build those that come down, a lot of the time they're releasing what's called alates, or the breeding termites. So you might see a lot of people call them flying ants around the place, because ants and termites are similar, but a lot of the time it's swarms of termites that are sending out new colonies. So often they come out of there and they have those so that those flying ants or the alates can come out and things. So I've seen them where they've done that inside a house and released the alates inside a house, and they covered the whole floors. And I mean covered normal 4x2 home, and they covered every floor in the house. And the person who was renting the house, she was FIFO, and she'd come back in, and
it's covered.
It was covered.
It's like
in
a
the
dark
flying.
grey, isn't it?
They got a winged ant, so to speak.
Yeah.
You see it's the same sort of thing, and that comes in, but they smell when they die, of course, because
wow.
everything does. And because there's millions of them, it's just a layer along the floor.
Gross.
Everywhere they had to be vacuumed up, or because she was English, hoovered up.
So that's but they do that because obviously they're doing that to reach another location, aren't they?
So they're doing that so they can let the flying ones out and released, or they're doing that to reach another location.
So can they smell like, there's the food we got over there?
It's moisture they're attracted to, so it's usually moisture and combined with the rotting wood is the most common. So if you've got wood rot in timber posts, particularly like your pergola posts out the back, things like that. So technically pergola posts are meant to be on 75 millimetre stirrups above the finished ground level. They are initially, and then people pave. And they end up burying half the wood in the ground, and termites come straight up into it, and they end up rotting at the bottom as well.
Gotcha. So all that protection you had is gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
So, okay, well, let's talk about protection then. So, Termimesh is obviously a physical barrier. I'm not going to mention brand names, so I shouldn't do that. But the physical barrier where, and correct me if I'm wrong here, they do 2 lots of brickwork, internal and external. They put like a barrier there that's basically a metal barrier that stops termites getting through it, is the theory behind it, to stop them getting into your home, so they got no way getting through it. Your thoughts on that? How's it work, not work?
I'm not the expert on Termimesh. I think it's, I haven't heard anything that's not good about it. But you've got those things now. Now you've got other membranes like similar to that. They're a plastic which has got termicide through it.
Termicide's a pesticide.
Pesticide with but those rates of pesticide within those, it's like a waterproof membrane that goes around the house, similar to Termimesh. There's brand names called Cordon and Home Guard and things like that. But there's lots of different ones, and they can only be put in during the construction stage. There's other things, because you've got penetrations that come through. So when I mean penetration, all your pipe work or your plumbing that comes through your slab, because that produces a gap where termites can get through. So you put a collar around those, which the collar's similar to the sheeting. It's got a pesticide in it, which stops things. And
is that spiked, that collar? Is it?
No.
It's not a spike collar?
No, not a spike collar.
Doesn't
not like
intimidate the termites, don't come here.
But it looks like a dish that goes around it. And if they crawl over it, they die.
Gotcha.
But they last for 50 years.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so
longer than most houses.
Yeah, that's right.
The collar's still there in the house, isn't it? So what about those things about, and with the physical barriers that, the brickies puts some mud through it and puts a hole in it, or they can put a trowel through it. Have you found that be the case?
So that can be the case, and that's a risk. So it's a risk with most systems, is that the area is disturbed. So that's why you still need to have annual inspections on a house as a minimum. So the Australian standards
every 12 months.
Every 12 months.
I was going to ask you that question.
Yeah. So the Australian standard actually says that you need at least at the absolute least is 12 months.
Yep.
If you're in a higher risks areas,
Yep.
It can be more common. So further north, WA, Queensland, Northern Territory, they have a different species of termite.
Yep.
Mastotermes darwiniensis, and that is huge. It's like an elephant compared to the ones we have. So
Are they the mountain ones, or are they?
no,
Yeah,
no,
okay.
but they'll come through and they will demolish a house in the blink of an eye. I've seen a cartoon.
Well, we could use it. A couple of their clients want to demolish their homes.
That's right.
Save yourself a lot of money.
Put these in there and they'll do it for you.
Might take your neighbours out as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
Wow.
are some products we can use here that termite species that's not rated for, they'll go straight through it.
Yeah, wow. So they're just a hardcore.
They're big.
Yeah, wow.
So when you see them, I was in Darwin last year and I walked to the national park and there was a tree there and I had a look at it and it is affected by these termites and they are, compared to the species we have here, which is Coptotermes, usually acinophorus.
Yeah.
It's a much bigger termite, so of course it eats more.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy. You know, it's everything up north, mate. Like come to Australia,
Yeah.
I'll get you. Those animals. I mean, that's pretty crazy. So, what about the sprays? So, builders they spray the slab. How does that work?
So look,
because it doesn't get washed away.
The standard has changed. You can still spray underneath a slab
Yep.
now, but it's more to do with those physical barriers now.
Yep.
So the collars and the sheeting.
So that's the
standard
way to go now.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
So nowadays it's more of those, or you can have what's called as a termite reticulation system. So like your garden retic.
Yep.
It's put around a house. I did one the other day for an actual builder.
Yeah.
Put it around his house that he's
gotcha.
building.
Yeah.
He said, David, when can you do it? How can you do it? So because he dug up a stump and he's just near his house and it was full of termites.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a sign. That's a sign.
Yeah. So we lay the reticulation around. It can go underneath the slab as well. And you can pour the concrete over the top of the retic.
Yeah.
And you just pump it up with the termicide.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then you can replenish it. So which means you can pump it up. There's pump up points around the house.
Yeah.
A lot of people may have they bought a house from someone else, may have that system around the house and they don't even know.
Is that something? So there's something you offer?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So how does that go for health with kids and so forth?
Look, once every chemical is a poison,
Yeah.
and there's some that are more poisonous than others.
Yeah.
Once it's in the soil,
Yeah.
It combines with the soil and it's underground.
Yeah.
So it's not on the surface, but it's underground, and there is a lot of chemical around a house. And that depends on how big the house is. So
gotcha.
I had a large house yesterday. It was 162 lineal metres around the outside of the house.
Yeah, wow.
But that was 1,470 litres of chemical.
Ouch.
Yeah.
But I guess after 24 hours, it would have soaked into the ground.
It's into the ground. We're pumping it underground anyway.
Yeah,
so
okay,
we're not
gotcha.
putting it on the surface.
Yeah, so a
We're
kid kicking a ball in the backyard wouldn't be
Yeah,
affected.
and the
Okay.
dogs
Yeah.
and the cats and stuff, just stay away from it.
Yeah,
And
gotcha.
then
Yeah,
while it's wet, and then
that
it's
makes sense,
okay,
yeah.
it's just dry.
What about the idea of putting like a piece of timber in your corners of your yard, and the idea if that gets eaten, you got termites? What are your thoughts on that?
Technically, that is other systems that are able to be used, and that's the sort of theory it is.
Yeah.
That finds you there. What are you going to do once you know that they're there?
Call you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's systems that are called baiting and monitoring systems.
Yeah.
And they're got a little bucket, so to speak. I shouldn't use my hands to.
That's all right. That's all right. Talk as much as I just say hit the mic. Yeah.
And in that little bucket, they've got timbers.
Yep.
And then a lot of the time they use an attractant, so it increases the CO2 levels in that bucket. And those little traps are placed every 3 metres around the house.
Yeah, okay.
You inspect them at the maximum every 3 months. And once you find termites in there, then you put a termite bait in there.
Gotcha.
So environmentally, those termite baits are what's called an insect growth regulator. So that's your exoskeleton your insect that it affects.
Yeah.
Mammals don't have exoskeletons.
True.
So it's not a scheduled poison.
Gotcha. Okay. So
it's very low toxicity.
I assume heavily researched by the Australian government.
Yeah, it is. So everything, all chemicals and everything have to be approved.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah.
The approval process is so all the chemicals that we use are the same chemical or governed by the same authority, by the veterinary authority. Then that, I think that's the right department. But those chemicals take a long time to get approved.
Yeah, gotcha.
And a lot of money, lot of money to get approved.
I must say, when it comes to protecting Australians, the Australian government is quite good at border security and so forth, which is great.
Yeah.
So, okay, so obviously pests is a big thing. If you've got an older home, you came to my house and did a pest inspection, but some areas of the home you just can't get to because of the old way of putting limestone walls. What's the solution to that?
I think it's...
Just ignore it, she'll be right.
Yeah. No, I think it's minimising risk. I think nothing you can do eliminates risk.
Yeah, because it could come back tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah. So you're minimising any risk associated with termites.
Yeah.
Combined with eliminating the conducive conditions.
Yep.
Combined with a termite zone of some kind or another.
Yeah, gotcha.
Whether it be monitoring systems, whether it be termite baiting systems. I installed one this morning around a house, which has those little buckets sort of thing that are installed all the way around the house.
Oh, yeah, you see it.
And in those, each one of those, there's a termite bait.
Yep.
So it's actually baited full time.
Yeah, wow.
You still have to check those.
Yeah.
And if termites are in the vicinity, it's designed for them to go into that instead of going into the house.
Gotcha.
And then they eat that bait, they take that bait back to the nest and it kills the whole
Game
nest.
over, yeah.
Game over for the nest.
Yeah, it's pretty strategic.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. Okay, so I got you over to my house. You went to my home, and then you are, I've done a few courses. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Said, I knew that you were coming over, so I thought I'd, make sure that, you'd get Behan, Gold Star. You've done everything to protect your home. You've done none of the stupid things or silly things that people do. And you went around the back of my home and, but you shouldn't have that there or that there or that there. And, okay, I guess I failed. What are some of the things that are just 101 stuff that people should do or not do to help termites eat their home?
Okay, so most new homes, everything, the standards and everything change over time. Yep. So we're always improving the way we build places. So the big things are moisture around the properties. So if you've got your air conditioning and you've got the air conditioning overflow that is right next to the air conditioner, right next to against the building, creates a big damp patch right next to your house.
Gotcha. You're asking for
Plumb it away.
Yeah, gotcha.
Plumb it away. Same with your hot water.
Yep.
Make sure all of those are plumbed away. Most of the new houses, they have to be.
Yep.
Is my understanding, and they're all get that moisture away from the house. You don't want moisture against the house anyway. It's no good for other things. Things as well. But those things, downpipes.
Yeah.
If you've got rusting gutters, rusting downpipes.
So it's just to access water to the ground.
Water to the ground is just the massive thing. And I can tell you, people say they've got termites in a house, and then you walk in there in the bathroom, you see all of the bubbling paint behind the shower and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And you know that the termites have come straight into it.
And you immediately see that and go, okay, we may, there's a good chance we're at risk here.
Yeah.
Well, one you said to me, it's been a while since you've been there, but is I had my timber fence, because I've got my house was built in 1939, and that timber fence went just blocking the gate, and it had the timber on the actual wall.
Yeah.
And you go, don't do that, because, walk us through why that's a problem.
So that because you got what they eat is right next to the house.
Yeah.
So they're going to eat that in no time.
Yeah.
And then they're going to look for somewhere else. And when you see them spread out, it's massive that they spread out in there. It's like little fingers go out everywhere.
Yeah, wow, yeah. On search,
searching for everything else. So, and they'll follow along your slab edge, and then they'll go up through the slab edge and into the house. And if you've got wooden floors on concrete or something like that, they'll go straight through your wooden floors, or they'll go further up into the roof.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they do go into a roof, it's not until later that you normally discover them, because with construction you've got a top plate which is wooden along the top of your wall, and they'll go straight through that first, which is all hidden. If you go on the roof, you can't see that area.
And who's hanging out on their roof every day?
Well, that's right.
Yeah. Well, probably you, but but also I think also with the gate there that if they eat next door, they got this beautiful. Go to the fence, go up, go across that. Oh, we're showing you another house here and have a field day. Yeah, absolutely. The other one, which I didn't do, but I knew you shouldn't do, was the timber. Chopped wood right next to the home, leaning up against the home.
Especially in this weather where people got there. I was working when I was working this morning. I could smell all the open fires going. And people bring their wood in and they store it up against the house and on the ground. Ideally, it should be away from the house and off the ground. So then you can actually see, because termites, like I said earlier, are subterranean. They come up from the ground. So if you store your wood off the ground, then you can actually see them coming up. Into the wood. So you're storing them away from those areas.
I don't want to see any of that.
No,
but you're right. But what I get worried about though is that I take the wood from outside, and then I bring it inside and I put it on my timber floors next to my fireplace, and I might not use it all and go away.
That's not going to do anything.
Oh, isn't it? Okay, that's good.
Because you're separating them from the colony. So they're a colony. Insect. Unless you've got the queen, then there's a new colony. It's not going to do anything. They're just going to die.
So it's taking the kids away from the parents.
Taking the kids away from the parents.
It's just brutal. We won't do that anyway. But okay, so that's awesome with termites, and it's really good feedback and knowledge for that. You got this machinery I had at my house, the infrared machinery and things like that. How do you use that with pests and that?
It depends on the situation. So there's things that have radar devices. So normally the old-fashioned ways of tapping around and finding hollow wood are good, and then what we do is confirm that termites are there. So the number one thing that we don't want to do is disturb them. And if you do find termites in your house, the first piece of thing that nearly everyone wants to do, I'm not going to say nearly, but everyone wants to do is spray them with mortine or Behan. They just want to kill them on the spot. They don't want them there. But that's actually the worst thing you can do, because we actually need the termites there to be able to treat them.
You're ready to get the queen.
We want to get the whole colony, and what they can do is they will sacrifice and cut that part of the nest off, sacrifice those that part of the colony, and then go somewhere else where we have to find them again. And
bastards.
Ruthless.
Ruthless.
So,
but you shouldn't try and feed them either. Like, here, have a bit of timber.
No, you shouldn't try and feed them. It's just let them go.
They're not pets, people.
People normally hit them with the Behan first, then Google it, and then find out that they weren't supposed to disturb them and call the pest controller in. They do. So I usually have to ask twice. Because people don't tell me the first time. Because
why is there a can of spray right there?
And you know.
Absolutely.
You know. I said, look, and I'm not going to. I say everyone does. It's a natural instinct.
Thing absolutely. Well, on that note, like, this is slightly off topic, but I find now that sprays like mortine, all those things, are just useless. Like, if there's a spider and you spray it with any of those bugs, I used to use Behan, maybe because my name's Behan, I guess it rhymes. But and Behan used to do something. But these days I find them weak. If anything, I mildly irritate the spider. I'm
not 100%
It's not your field probably, but
Look, I know there can be some built-up resistance to certain chemicals. So say for rodent treatments, so rats are one thing. So first generation baits don't work because you've killed everything that it works on, and then the survival of the fittest works in, and then they develop and go. So you throw all your next generation rodent baits, and I think even all the companies suggest that we rotate our baits for rodents around because of that sort of reason, because you don't want them building that resistance to any of the chemicals and stuff like that.
Well, you do a whole plethora of pests. What are the most common pests that you come across? Mainly I know you do like all sorts, but in residential.
So residential, look, it's seasonal. So
rats would be huge. Spiders.
At this time of year, it's more the rodents. Cockroaches, German cockroaches in particular, year-round. So German cockroaches. So you got German cockroaches, you got Australian ones, you got American ones.
How do you know they're like you try to speak the accents?
It's the accent. No,
I'm sure I'm not the first one to make that joke.
But all of those, the German cockroach has a very fast quick life cycle, and so the generational growth of the German cockroach is massive, and it's very resistant to anything. So it will multiply very quickly, and when I say very quickly, I've been in houses and I know they're in there when I'm at the front door because I can smell them.
Oh, really?
Because there's that many of them.
Wow.
And I know what
Gross.
they smell like. Yeah, it's gross.
And that's leaving food out and that kind of stuff. And
It is. Cleanliness is number one. So no food, no water, no harbourage, no pest.
yeah, wow. Yeah, yeah. Slogan. Yeah.
So you learn that when you
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
it. So
And rats would be mainly from fruit or things like that.
well, rats have been around for a long time.
well,
so
yeah.
you got the bubonic plague when they carried the fleas around, and
I think 30 million people. Or something.
yeah. So
But no, but what's like? Why does one property have rats and another one doesn't? It's,
because you've got food and you've got food and shelter.
Yeah, gotcha.
That's the main thing. So, but you've always got them around the place, and it's just keeping them out, and like we do, minimising the conducive conditions, like anything for those things. Exclusion, which means putting wire around so you can stop them from coming in, and I think it's very hard because a rat has got a very slimline skull, and the rest of the body collapses down around it. As they fit their head through it, which is usually the size of a man's thumb, they can get through it. So if you've got a hole that big, they can get in. And most of the time...
That's amazing, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I was at a place yesterday, and they were in the lovely house, getting into the back roof void above the bedroom, and I could smell what they were there.
Yeah.
When you're in a place and you live there for a while, you get used to smells.
But also you're highly aware of what that smell is. Someone else might smell it.
Yeah. So they're in the roof, and they urinate and defecate wherever they go. So they can't control those movements, and you'll see their workings everywhere. And then they drag into the roof because they've got the palm nuts and berries and the snails and things like that. They drag them into the roof to eat because they're sheltered away from any predators.
Gotcha.
So-
your house is a party house for rats.
So up in your roof, you've got all that mess, and then they start chewing through wiring, which can cause house fires. And they actually have got another place not long ago where they chewed through your plastic water pipes in the roof.
Wow. How convenient. Yeah.
Yep. So all of the roofs have all been water damaged now because the rats have chewed through your piping.
So if you're at a dinner party at someone's house and you can smell it, you can tell they're there, do you tell them in front of everybody else or you just say a quiet word to them later? Or do you still eat the dinner?
I was talking to another pest controller last night, and he's going out for his son's birthday to a restaurant, and he said, I think I might go into the kitchen and look under the fridge first before I start eating.
The mine will be good. But that's the thing though, like you got rats obviously and termites, spiders, ants.
Spiders, yeah. So spiders during summer is things, and I had another podcast member talk to me. He bought a new place not long ago, and he's in the hills and got a cubby house at the back, and he says, I'm getting these giant stripy looking spiders and they're massive. I'm very worried for my son now out in the back playing, going, when is the best time to come out and treat for the spiders and things like that. So and I said, I said to him, best time for us is, and your maximum value when we're going to spray for those kind of insects is spring. So you're getting that summer period where you got the maximum pressure from pests on a house, because that's a time of year where the spiders are breeding, and what they do is they shoot up a web and they come in on the wind like a parachute. So that's why you'll see them all along the fence line, because they've whacked into your fence and they think, I'll live here.
There's a new place, honey. Start unpacking.
Underneath your fence capping. And
and then they go from there.
You put your finger underneath there and pat a nice big black hairy house spider and
have a nice day. Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully it doesn't bite you. Because the thing is though, like if you have those older homes, you're going to be more conducive to having probably spiders because they can get into the house easier, under the floorboards. And,
that's right. So
cockroaches, all that sort of stuff.
You do. But you can also see underneath the house there, and you can see the issues.
Yeah.
Whereas you can't see a lot of things with the concrete concrete slab.
Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know what you're getting. Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty funny how that works. But look, the reality is, I think I don't think anyone ever wakes up in the morning and goes, today's the day. We should get that pest inspection. No. It's like a necessary thing you have to do. Yeah. But I think the key to this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is to be organised, and that is to go, okay, well, we should get it every year. Yeah. Don't muck around with it. It's not worth it. No. The cost of not doing it is far greater than the cost of doing it. Yeah. And I think you just got to book it in your diary, or I assume people can book it in with you every year for that regular catch-up, and you ring them and go, hey, we're due.
So what we do, we've got customer relationship management systems, CRM systems, which, and the client this morning, when I put that termite system around, it's got to be checked and everything. And she was asking me, do I have to put it in my diary? I said, no, we'll send you out a reminder. And she goes, oh, that's great. Yeah. I said, and then my office staff, they will phone and check with you and make sure.
Well, you're very receptive. Yeah. Like, every time I ring you call me back within a minute. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? But no, that's good though. I think that's what you need to do, because again, no one gets excited about, maybe you do, but no one gets, hey, we need to get that inspection. It's, if you get a negative result, you don't have any problems. Well, okay, cool, but it's still good to do it, because they might not have been there today. Tomorrow they might be, and you've got a big problem if they do. And no insurance. It actually blows my mind that insurance companies don't cover it. But
that's the type of risk it is. So, what the stats? 650,000 houses a year, and over $1 billion worth of damage just from termites.
Yeah, wow. Wow, that's crazy. And people aren't disciplined to getting it done anyway. So you're there.
So the insurers aren't going to take that risk. So they view it, my understanding, and I'm not an insurance expert, my understanding is they count it as a maintenance item. Yeah. So like other things in your house, if you don't maintain it, they're not going to cover it.
Yeah, exactly right.
So if you're not maintaining your termite work, well, they don't cover it anyway. Yeah. But
and people in insurance sound reliable for that.
Yeah,
no, absolutely. Look, we've covered a lot. With pests, I guess. Is there any pests that you wouldn't cover or you don't do?
Oh, look, I'm not huge on possums.
Yeah, okay.
So with possums are protected.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't call them a pest, but they can get in your roof and they can cause a lot of issues.
Is that in Perth CBD, or is that more of the outer?
I do a lot of work around South Perth, and there's got the zoo there, and we've had people trap them and take them to the zoo, and then they love it. They say, "Well, we've got enough of our own possums."
Yeah, thanks for actually another one. Yeah,
another one.
Throw them over the fence. Yeah.
But because they're protected, we can only release them within a certain number of metres from where we've caught them.
Okay.
So they'll go straight back in there unless you're proofing them.
Yeah, and that's blocking your ceilings.
Blocking, their access into the house is the main thing.
It's like anything. It's like you put gates up at the front of your home to stop the thieves breaking into your house, go next door. Yeah. It's like the possums, next door.
So
neon sign.
And once they find that nice cosy place, it's things. So there are things where we put in like one-way doors.
Yeah.
So where they get in, so you got to actually get them out of the house first.
Yeah.
So you put the one-way door so they can get out from where they come in, but they can't come back in.
Gotcha.
So and then exclude it off. So
because the ants would be another massive one that you'd be doing a lot of
ants are huge, and there's a lot of different things. So unfortunately, some ants, red imported fire ant in Queensland and New South Wales has gotten into the country, and they're having massive issues over there with it. So much so that all the paraphernalia that comes out from the pest control industry, there's so much on the red imported fire ants. And we don't have it here yet. It escaped a little bit. I think they controlled it from Fremantle. Yeah. But they can cause... there's issues where the ants have actually killed people because once they sting once, the whole colony comes out to sting you.
Gotcha.
So it's...
And deadly or just extremely painful?
Well, if enough stings, it would be deadly.
Yeah, wow.
So vet bills, pets and everything like that.
Of course, I didn't think about pets.
As a big one. So there's a lot of things with those for them. And the way they travel is huge. So they're gone, from what I know, they're expanded out of Brisbane down into New South Wales and further north. Yeah, and it's cost them, last time I heard, it was over $1 billion to try and control it.
Far out.
They're dropping stuff from helicopters. And
do you think it will get to Perth eventually?
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
hopefully not, but because it'll cost a lot. So that's where your border security and everything is vital.
Yeah.
We've had polyphagerous shot-hole borer here, which is killed.
Is that European house borer, or is it different?
No, it's a different one.
Yeah.
which has caused a lot of damage to a lot of trees. And
Pythagoras what?
But yeah, so shot hole borer.
Yeah,
we'll
okay,
call it.
yeah.
And what it has done, I think it's Department of Agriculture or one of those departments have said it's not about eradicating it now, it's just containing it.
Yeah.
Because it's...
Because, the cane toad situation is not here in Perth WA yet, but it's certainly a threat. I mean, have you ever had to deal with anything like that?
I grew up in Queensland.
Oh, did you?
So
okay,
as a
wow.
kid, so we used to use a 9-iron.
Yeah. Well, you do like your golf, so why not? That's how you got into golf, eh? But that's the thing about them is you can't win against them.
No, you can't. So they've. They brought that in to control the cane beetle, but unfortunately it ate everything else as well.
Well, props to the Australian government for that, because I do think the government actually does a lot of really good stuff. They do their best to contain it. I mean, our border security with that is just, I think it's phenomenal. So
it
props to anyone who's involved in that. So yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that goes on at the borders and fumigation of containers and things like that to make sure that they don't get in. I'm not an expert on that area, but I've got a friend who is. And
they've done a great job, because certain people just go, we should be right. And it's going to fix. But look, we've talked a lot about this. We'd love to get you back because there's so much more we can talk about. Thank you for coming on and talking about especially the main things. In fact, just before we go, European house borer, can you walk us through that? Because you have the H2 beams and the blue beam. Is that a real threat? How does it work?
I'm not an expert. I have never seen it in house. My understanding, I don't think it's affected a built house yet. It's another massive thing that I want that pest getting out, because it can cause a lot of damage. And I know what it would look like if I saw the effects of it, but I haven't come across it yet. I've come across the timbers that have been treated for it and things like that. But I think it's been discovered in the forest areas, but nothing.
So I'll just do a bit of a background explanation for people listening. So European house borer, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding of it is that it actually comes in some of the timbers that we bring in for roof timbers. And you have to actually treat the timber to make sure that it's dead in there. And if they do find European house borer somewhere, I believe it's a 5 kilometre radius they do around where it's found to make sure that all those places get treated in that area. Which doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally, because if the European house borer is in a piece of timber, it doesn't mean that it's in that piece of timber surrounding it, because it has been...
I'm not the expert on what they do once
That's
it
my
happens
understanding.
and that things. I think the big thing is that's one thing. There's in Queensland they have the West Indian drywood termite, which is a different species of termite. And I don't know if you've watched the series Breaking Bad.
I have seen the series Breaking Bad.
You've seen when they were cooking their meth in a tented house.
That's right. And they're getting that's right.
So that's what you have to do. You have to
don't cook meth, people.
And where you put that tent over a house and they fumigate it, that's what you need to do for West Indian drywood termite.
Okay.
And my understanding was, I think it was costing about $80,000 a house to do those treatments for the West Indian drywood termite.
Wow. You can't, it's huge in America.
It's not a subterranean termite.
Yeah.
You'll get it in ships and boats and things like that. It'll come in wooden boats and things like that. So you've got to be very careful. And it's gotten into Queensland, and likewise the government has said now, my understanding is that it's your responsibility now, it's not theirs.
Wow.
And the treatment of it is quite expensive, because when you put that tent over a house, they've got to shut off all your water and your gas. You've got to...
the ripple effect of doing that is
to have
huge.
Security there, because you're fumigating the house.
People are cooking meth in your mate. And by the way, that's in the TV show. If you haven't seen it, it's Breaking Bad's about, it's about a school teacher gone bad, basically, and becomes a drug dealer. But no, that's really interesting. With these names like German cockroaches and West Indian, are they just labels, or is that actually where they originate from?
No, it's a label thing. So even my understanding is that you've got even rats. You got the Rattus norvegicus, Norwegian rat. You got Rattus rattus, or your roof rat. So you always got the Latin names of things.
Gotcha.
So you got the common name that it's known by as well.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, I was curious. Fantastic. But look, you've been magic. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I've got my question to ask everybody to go.
Okay.
So you're building a house, renovating your own home. A distant relative that you didn't know existed, or whichever, sends you a check in the mail and says, "Hey, here's $10,000. You have to spend it on your house." What would you spend the $10K on?
I'd spend it in the kitchen actually on appliances and things like
Yep.
that. I think it would go towards what I wanted. I love cooking.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
so we love cooking at home. So
As long as there's no cockroaches.
No, we're clean and tidy and but yeah, I think quality appliances are always.
What appliances would you grab? Do you reckon? Yeah.
Oh, I'd love Gaggenau, but that's a deposit on the Gaggenau.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you might be able to buy a handle with that. Yeah, absolutely. But but I reckon appliances are great. I mean, the better the cook shop you have, or whichever, if you love cooking, it's a great investment.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and surprising when you invite people around there, everyone ends up in the kitchen talking, don't they? So,
well, the thing is, someone said to me a while ago that of everything in your, like, you have a Mercedes, BMW, whatever car you drive, you got a label, you know what car that is. But when you build a home, once it's built, you don't know who built it unless you tell them. But the only label you really have in your home is your appliances.
It is, isn't it?
If you want to put a badge in your home, especially for resale, and we had another podcast about this with a real estate agent about what is good for resale. People see, they go, oh, this must be good quality home because that's the appliance they've got. But, side note there. Mate, you've been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. DB2 is you are fantastic when it comes to that. You do building inspections, but you also do pest control. I do think that if someone is not sure or you haven't had a test done, seriously reach out, look at the show notes for your business and really look into what's out there. And thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Behan. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you very much. If people like this podcast and they really want more information like this, please leave a review, leave a comment, let us know, follow us for more, and give us some feedback as to if this is the content you want. We'll go from there. Thanks very much.